And our intention today has to do with our spring equinox. And so think of that idea of balance with the spring equinox. Think about how we can bring balance into our body, balance between the upper body and the lower body. When there's not balance, there tends to be some pain. So bringing that body into greater balance. And between the left and the right sides, between the toes and the fingers, we're just trying to overall find that good balance today. And so that'll be the idea that leads us on. Let's take some of our initial stretches as we're here. So when you get inside, go ahead and stretch the arms all the way to the back wall. And then let the shoulders start to wiggle all the way to the right. And shoulders all the way to the left. A good time or two starting to move into some nice muscle groups. Good. And then when you're ready, we can start to move into the legs, a couple of initial stretches there. Take your right knee in. And your right knee's in. Maybe give that ankle a couple of good rolls. Bring some tightness out. And eventually right leg clear up to the sky. Pull it in. Give it some time. Give it some love. Good attention. Nice inhale. And exhale, drop it down. Second knee in. A couple of ankle rolls can be nice. Look at the sky. Another good breath in and out. Good. Take a nice inhale. And exhale. Drop the leg. We'll do those hip openers that we normally do. We'll do that in a little bit, but start to kick the feet free off the front. And then hands grip up. We're starting to sit up tall. And let's take our first inversion, getting our back used to our class today. So hook your thumbs onto the back end. Lean halfway back until the point where you can grip on for safety. From there, wide legs will make sure you don't fall out. Wrap the toes. And here you get to just hang. If when you head backwards, it doesn't feel like the fabric's on the right spot of your back, this is a good opportunity to readjust. So feel free to come on up, readjust. Usually fabric lower for me is more comfortable than higher, but there's also this perfect spot too low and make you kind of slip off the back end. So good. So first inversion of the day. Start to see how the muscles want to start opening, how those vertebrae want to start opening. Give it time, give it patience. Good things to get us started today. Just keep on enjoying this as long as this is still feeling helpful for your body. I'm going to give it plenty of time today. You're out before others, that's totally fine. Give your neck a chance to loosen up some tightness left and right. Don't worry, I can tell we have a good inversion people class today, so we're gonna include plenty of them. So just give that neck a chance to just easy rock left and right. Take a moment to be with our hips. So if you're still upside down, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with just hanging in the inversion, skipping a couple of things. Sometimes that's the best thing we can do for our body. But getting into this right hip for a moment, let's try to take the right knee in, and we're going to try to give it a nice hug. So more or less, the left hand is on that right foot, and then we're trying to inch it up, maybe closer to the left wrist or closer to the left elbow. Try to give that right hip a chance to open up just by hugging this right shin in with that left arm. Progressively, we're going to deepen that hip stretch. Know that if you ever need to just pause and skip some of the variations, that's okay. It'll kind of tend to progress deeper and deeper as we go. But the next step would be stepping this left foot into the fabric and then straightening left leg out. So engaging the core to sit up tall. It's deeper because we brought that left leg into the stretch also. We'll take a couple of good breaths at that spot. And then continuing to lean back even further. This is the point where we will hook that right foot on the back left edge and slide the shin in, inviting even more for the hip. The head is welcome to be inside of the fabric, nice and comfortable. From here, option to let the left leg fall back out, dropping the knee down or dangling the fabrics back by the knee. I would make it just a little bit deeper again. Left leg dangling off the front. This is a spot you could just hang out here a little bit longer. The second option would be to sit up even more. So you would need to grab hands onto the back edge of the fabric, start sitting up. The idea would be to free that right knee to point forward. Not everybody can get this far if the knee's not ready for it, so don't feel like you have to get all the way up. But freeing that right knee out of the fabric, it's like we're creating a knee stack, right knee over left knee. Yep, so it's just the ankle that's hooked on the fabric, so that way the knee can pivot forward. Good, so laying back is fine, maybe sitting up. If you're sitting up, just leaning forward would be what we do to get into that hip really nicely. Yep, you got it. Work. And that leaning forward is only if the hip can handle it, so, and the knee. So just listen to it. A couple of good breaths. Let's inhale. Exhale. We need to lean back to free out the leg. When it's free, give it another little chance to stretch up to the sky, whether you're grabbing on with your hand or just stretching it up muscularly. Good, and when we're ready to sit all the way back up, we've got that right foot completely free, and we'll begin to work on the left for a moment. So left knee comes in. Maybe you just stay with that foot in the right hand. Maybe it inches its way up to the wrist or up to the left or up to the right elbow, bringing it up to a good spot to start that left hip stretch. Maybe making it deeper by stepping the right leg in, straightening it out. Maybe making it deeper by leaning all the way back, hooking that left foot on the back right part, sliding the shin in. Maybe deeper yet again, picking the right foot off the front. And last step is only if the knee is happy. You could just stay, otherwise trying to sit up more, rotate the knee free off the front. If it's easy enough to lean forward, lean forward. Good. Last breath wherever we are. If you came to sit up, lean back. And then all of us free out the leg, give it a little stretch up to sky. And then we can come back to sit up. We're gonna head back to the inversion that we played with just a moment ago. We're gonna take a different variation to kind of play with like a little back bend, play with a couple of different things, and then we'll end up back in the inversion. You'll again have some free time to just hang, but it all starts off with the same thing we did before. So fabric down at the low back, grab on, legs wide, wrap the ankles, and then pause here before you let go of that. Good, so we wrapped the legs wide. Go ahead and bring the fabric down past the knees. Once you've got the fabric on the knees, you have to use your core and kind of swing up, grab the fabric up above the feet. Once you've grabbed up super, super high, you're gonna come all the way up and through. So legs need to squeeze into the midline. Keep on wrapping your feet. Reach your hands up higher. If you get your hands above the feet, that's what makes it possible. Yeah. Then eventually coming all the way up to kind of kneel inside. Yep, you'll have to walk one hand, walk the other, walk one hand, walk the other. If you absolutely can't make it, just hang for a little while. Good, you're almost there. Walk your hands a little higher. Yep, keep on squeezing knees. Good. You're so close. Yep, you got it. And just walk hands higher and you'll be there. Got it. Good work. So kind of a funky pose. Let's just do a little pinwheel over toward front door side. Our legs shift just a little bit. Let's free out the back arm and then bring it to grip right above our head. Good. And just a little bit of arm strength. Let's push and just release slowly back. It's called a negative. So slowly return it. Good. 3. And return. 2. And 1. Good. From here, pinwheel all the way to the other door. Once you're there, push. Yep. And release. A little bit of arm strength. It's kind of hard. Push. Release. Push. Release. Good work. And turn your knees back equally forward. Sometimes I like to take a little back bend. It's like a bow pose here. If your back doesn't like it, you don't have to. You would head backwards to head out. But the idea is toes kind of touching together. And just take a nice little arch for a moment. Good. You have complete control because when you're ready to come back, just shift your hips back and grab on, head backwards. Once you let go of your hands, you'll be in that same inversion we had earlier. Just giving that spine the chance to be upside down. Good. I'll give you a little bit more time here. Up again, let's take our head over to the right shoulder, over to the left shoulder. Just give it a couple more breaths, making sure that we're back to balance after being upside down. It's nice because being upright all day, every day, can actually take us out of balance. So getting that chance to be upside down is a huge way to bring it back. Playing with the hips, I think of that like as our center point. So it's like we're bringing that energy back. And with that left and the right, making sure that that very base of the spine is in a good balance. So here, listen to your body for a moment. You don't want to move out of this. If you're still needing some time to recover, you would know either by fullness in the ears or just by kind of tuning into that gut feeling. It's like, do I need to just rest here a little bit longer? If that's where you're at, just rest. Don't ever feel like I'm rushing you out. But if you're getting to that point, you're like, okay, I think I would be okay. If you're at that point, go ahead and grip onto the fabric. Let's lift our weight up and out. Good. And then from here, let's take the fabric out in front of us. We're gripping about as wide as shoulders, and let's start to ease the upper body forward. So we come there. Let's listen to whatever our body needs for that balance. So this might be shifting left and right a little bit. It could be more like a cat-cow, rounding up and down. It could even be just staying in the middle and breathing. Or finding a good tight spot to just pause. Good. So a nice inhale. Beautiful exhale. Let's rise our way up. Let's ease into our legs a little bit. So right ankle in. Let's take just a nice easy grip, nice and high. Start to just sink your weight forward. Maybe it's only an inch. Maybe it's a bit deeper. It's just you listening to your body. How much will this area of my body start to stretch? How much is it willing to begin to get a little bit more open? Almost like the name of the game today is easy does it. So lifting spine up tall. Let's take our left wrist and push it on the outside of the right side. You can grab on instead if that's what your balance needs, but right arm starts to rotate open. The idea is by pushing both ends of the fabric to that front left top corner, we're getting to IT band, so that's balancing the lower half of the body, while this arm reaching back is balancing the upper half. Good, grip back on. Let's slip the fabric down to the thigh. Turn your toes to the long left edge, and then start to sink it into warrior two. Even dropping your right elbow onto the right thigh. This will be more of an extended side angle. Top hand grips onto the fabric, or it can continue to stretch forward, pointing toward the mirror side. Sometimes I stay at my elbow, sometimes I slip closer down to the shoulder. So whatever's feeling good. Feel that entire side body area, getting a good chance to extend. Bringing that area to balance. Good, so reaching up, find a grip of the fabric. Use that grip to help the torso rise. Squeeze it in thighs together. Face back forward, slipping down to ankle if you're doing a swinging switch, or if you'd rather just step this foot out, step the other foot into switch, that's fine. Swinging switch is gripping up high, keep the legs straight, one foot in, other foot out. Good. When you get there, a nice easy grip up high, and just see how, if you can sink forward maybe 1 inch, or maybe a little bit more. Just easy does it today. Right, starting to come back. Got that twist. So if the balance is there, right wrist pushes into bowl. When you have balance, left arm opens up behind you. Rotating open upper body. Rotating and twisting lower body. Good balance right there in the middle. Nice inhale. Exhale, return. Slip down the thigh. Rotate your toes to the right long edge. And then we sink forward first to warrior two. And then to extended side angles. So front elbow down, or maybe slipping the shoulder already. Top arm up on the fabric, or stretching forward. There is a little bit of playroom in the hips. You'll feel something very different if the hips are kind of scooting back and you're really leaning, versus hips almost trying to drop down. So you can play with both, see if there's a good muscle grouping. explore into. Inhale. Exhale, gripping up high. Use that grip to help the torso rise, and then squeezing my thighs together. Good. From here, step all the way out. Let's take a nice hip hang, fabric across the hip bones. So even getting up to tippy toes if you need to. Usually I'll walk forward to take some slack out, and then that makes it easy to start pivoting forward in the hips, dropping hands down. Good 3 huge steps will take us back under plumb line. And maybe today, you leave the legs straight, leave hands on the floor, but by lifting toes off the ground, you start to wiggle the hips left and right. Kind of freeing up any of that low back by letting it wiggle. Knees can also be bent. There's lots of playroom here. Too much pressure on the hips, so you can always drop the toes down. But also come back to stillness in the center, normal hip hang. Little hug around the knees or shins, hand clasp behind your back, whatever feels nice. But having the hands on the ground does actually relieve some of the pressure, just because of the angle. It's not quite so condensed. Just like normal inversions, it's okay if some of us come out before others, that's perfectly fine. Just keep on listening to your body, especially the pressure across the hips. If that's what's telling us that it's time, you're welcome to walk forward. If you're walking forward, just roll your spine up. When you're safely up, let's take fabric behind us, let's lean back. Good. Especially give the hips some love. Kind of letting ourselves rock left and right. Stretching through that area. Might feel nice to let the head lean back into the hands. Making sure the neck's much more restful. We're going to take a recovery just a hair longer so we can head into another inversion. Seems like this is our inversion heavy class today. But take the fabric right kind of under your shoulder blade, making sure it's not cutting off those blood vessels that are right in our armpits. And then from here, whether you're facing forward, backward, doesn't matter too much, but start to walk your hips to the under plumb line. And then begin to play around with whatever feels good for that low back. So oftentimes the first thing I'll do is release the effort of my abdominal muscles. So my hips are more heavily just hanging. And sometimes that's just the spot to stay. Sometimes a twist of the knees left or right feels awesome. Sometimes taking an ankle onto a thigh, getting back into that hip area, that can create some space for the sacrum. Good to bring that back into balance. Or sometimes just easy motions for the legs, almost like a frog leg, kind of doing little circles in and out as you go forward and backward. That's an option too. So just whatever feels good to help your spots that feel like they're less in balance. That's what we're trying to aim for. Does it matter the exact shape? Just play with it. And if you get to that point where the blood is getting cut off before others, just straighten your legs back. That'll help you know where we're all at. But if we're doing okay, we'll take just a hair longer. One more breath in and out. And straighten your legs back. Let's take a hand clasp behind our back. And then pull the shoulders open behind. This is helping us to balance out the hunched forward position most of us probably took for quite a bit of the day without even being conscious of it. That's just kind of what we do in our society. Another good inhale. Nice exhale, release. Let's walk our feet backwards until we're standing up on our own. Good. And so this coming one does require a little bit of core work. So not everybody's going to be able to get into it. If you're one that doesn't get into it, then you'll go into the straddle back inversion. You try a couple of times and then you just get to go into the straddle back inversion where you just get to hang for a little while. So that's perfectly fine. In fact, even if you get into it, it's really intense massage on the shoulders. So don't feel like you have to stay forever. You can also just drop down in the straddle back inversion. So this starts off with taking the fabric over your shoulders like you've got a little scarf. You can face forward, you can face backwards, whatever you want. It's up to you. I know, it's fine, as long as you understand. Okay, so it's like a scarf. Hands on this little dipped part. We dive our whole arm into it, all the way through. From here, leaning forward at the waist, our goal is to try to get hands to grip the fabric on each side. So you kind of have to sometimes play around with it, walk forward, walk backward, whatever you need to do. So hands can reach. I know it's funky. Good. And if this is a limiting factor, that's okay. Just kind of play with this stretch for a moment and then come out. But from here, you need to make sure you're under plumb line. You're kind of starting to lean forward at the neck. So it's going to be the neck that needs to be under plumb line. So walk back usually is what will get you there. And then the idea is you have to take some hops until you bring hips over your shoulders. Your feet will just naturally catch the fabric and you'll get to be upside down. It's funky, it doesn't seem very safe, but when you're there, it's like there's like nowhere else you could go. But it's kind of a core little practice. Sometimes I can get into it, sometimes not. The idea is hop when your hips are over you. Ugh. You try to get those feet to grab. One little secret, bring your hips further than you think you need to go. That's like, I'm like almost at that spot, yeah. Kind of hop your hips like past where you think they should. Yeah. Yeah, and if nothing else, good core work. Good. I can even come around and give you a little boost if you need it, but it's also fine to just go straight to shadow back. Don't be this way. If you want to, bring one of your foot step on me. Good. And start to bring your hips. Yep. Grab. Right. Do you want to try? It's up to you. Oh, you need it. Good job. Beautiful. You can go forward, you can go backward. Just feel your body kind of knows which way. But try to go softly. It's like shoulder massage to the max. And it doesn't help too that the fabric's a little high for us. So that makes us have to hop just a little bit more. Kind of crazy, it's fun. So if it's still kind of high, you'll have to be up on tippy toes. Yep, you got it. Simultaneously, hands up, knees wide, good, wrap it, you got it. You're doing so good over there. This one's really intense, so you're still hanging on. Love it. Soft, soft, soft. Just easy land of the toes. You got it. Good work. You need to take a break, just lean back for a moment, or if you want to go straight to the hip thing, the straddle back, that's fine. If you got into it, it's almost like the shoulders just drop like 3 inches lower. It's like, oh, that's so nice. So in a very special way, that the straddle back that many are in, it's almost like that's helping to balance the pressure we got on the front of the hips. So it's like now our whole hip area just has a massage. You're out, yep, take any little recovery. We'll give it just a little bit of time. If you're still in, that's okay. Take a couple more breaths and then eventually head out. If we're getting to that point where our body's like, okay, I think I'm safe to be standing up, go ahead and take your fabric out in front. Let's take just a couple of little bonus leg stretches. So let's take the right ankle back in. You can do the same thing as before, just easing towards splits, seeing if there's been any more space added than the first time we did it. Or if you prefer for the second one, instead just to slide the hands down, that would also be fine. Whatever feels better for back, for hips, for legs. Keep those nice hamstrings stretched out. You could even play with hopping forward to lift up the leg, getting that hamstring really intense in the stretch. That's an option, but it does require a bit more balance. If we hopped forward, let's hop back. Let's turn open to the long left edge of the mat again. We're gripping on the left side of the fabric, so slide the right hand down, left hand up, keeping the shoulders open like a triangle pose. You can stay right here if this opens up good things on the hamstrings, like kind of new muscle groups, or you could sink further forward like side splits. Just depends on your body. Good. We're gonna switch legs. So let's grip on, let's face forward. You can either take this leg out, take the other one in, or swinging switch. Same things on hamstrings first. You can either start to sink your way forward, slide down. Maybe give it a breath or two before you hop forward if you're gonna do that. Like the prep. Putting forward if you're going there. A few more breaths right here. And opening back as we went forward, turn toes to the long edge, opening up the shoulders, sliding left down, right up, maybe sinking forward. Your inner thigh muscles control the depth of it, so just a little bit of squeeze will bring you back. Nice inhale. Exhale, come back. Let's free the leg out. We had a request to make sure to include vampire. Let's do vampire. Let's come up to the top. We'll wave it out, left and right. Thumbs hook. Take several grips of fabric. Take more than you normally do, so that way it's less shifting the fabric like from your head down to your toes. So a little bit extra, and then come on in. Sitting into it, take the legs in. Make sure you did keep enough fabric to cover your shoulders, not too much more than that. And when you reach hands up, take the feet up, press out to rise up. Any that know variations of vampire, you can play with it. This is essentially our last thing today before Shavasana. So just hang out as long as it feels good, then that's beautiful, and then you can rest back in Shavasana. If you've kind of been inverted out today, you've had so many inversions, you're like, I think I'm good. Then at any point, if you would rather do just a simple stretch or two instead, that's fine. But essentially just play with this as long as it still feels good, especially bringing those shoulders into balance. And only when everything feels happy, things feel good, that's when we'll get into our final Shavasana. No rush to get there. No rush to come out. When you do come out, remember you can just head this straight to Shavasana when you're ready. Breaths in and out, leading us into this next few minutes of Shavasana, of rest, of peace. Let your inhales and exhales both be deep and full. We're not allowing one to be quick. We're not allowing one to be shallow. They're both deep and full. That special kind of internal balance is brought even just from the very act of breathing. Deep, relaxed in, deep, relaxed out. Take the next few minutes to slowly work our way eventually toward a seated position. We may start off with just taking a couple of good deep breaths, maybe wiggling fingers and toes, maybe stretching arms to the wall behind us, letting shoulders go right and left. Sometimes a nice fetal position feels awesome for our spine, rolling over into our long side body, one hip on top of the other, letting ourselves curl in like a tight little ball, our back. If you're doing that, maybe 3 or 4 to one side, 3 or 4 to the other. If not, just fun little movements that introduce our body back for transition period. Whatever's helping us start to wake up a little bit more, become a little bit more conscious. So eventually we can be safe drivers. But no rush, maybe another 30 seconds or so. Eventually heading toward a comfortable seated place when you feel ready. So with hands, the left and right hand coming to balance in front of the heart. We have that idea of balance of the equinox week, this season, to lead us on. It's helpful to remember as we're heading back toward imbalance, in this case, heading toward warmth and sun. It's good to remember the benefits of cool and slow, those benefits of relaxation, taking time for yourself. That way, in these warm summer days ahead, you remember within my body, at least, I can remain in this perfect balance. And so with that idea of balance and seeking for it in all areas of our life to lead us on, let's wrap up the time we shared together today with the sound of Om. Good helmet. May we be filled with light, happiness, and peace. Namaste.